So before we jumped into this interview, I just wanted to introduce it a little bit. I had the privilege last week of being able to sit down with Jamori and Dashawn. Jamori and Dashawn are part of the Iota Phi Theta Fraternity here at Radford University. Jamori is actually the president, and they have just newly established the chapter of the fraternity on RU's campus. I also have the privilege of being their faculty advisor, and really all that means is that I get to associate with them and help plan out and bounce ideas, or have them bounce ideas off me for how they want to serve the community, but they really do all the hard work. I loved sitting down with Jamori and Dashawn. They shared about their majors, their heart for serving their community, their reason for starting the fraternity. They educated me on Greek life and what all these terms and what it even means to be part of Greek life and what it means to be part of a D9 fraternity. If you don't know what that means, you will soon find out in this episode. Love these guys. It was an absolute privilege to sit down with them. And real quick, before I actually let you guys listen, I did just want to say, bear with us through some of the audio. We, as you will find out, we're live in person on campus, and a couple rooms where we had planned to record fell through. So we were just kind of flying by the seat of our pants with figuring out a good place for sound. We also had a mic cord go out midway through the first segment that we were recording. So bear with us. There is some crinkling. You'll hear the cord going in and out. That doesn't completely go over the audio, but is there. Yes, we know it's there. It is rather annoying, but about the 18-minute mark into the episode, we cut and then hopefully fix it for the most part. But with that said, it is a rougher audio compared to previous episodes, but please bear with us, and I encourage you guys to plow through and keep listening in because you don't want to miss what Dashawn and Jamori have to say. All right, that's enough from me. Without further ado, please enjoy this interview with Jamori and Dashawn.
Life in three dimensions got me bent and got me twisted. I know I done said a lot, but I should probably stop pretending. I don't really hold the key and I can't really push a button. I just step up to the mic and try my very best to bust it, but I ran out of breath. It's tight in my chest, my feet just might fail. I can't stand the pressure.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Racially Speaking, where we have real and honest conversations about race as it's viewed through the lenses of faith, family, and vocation. As always, I'm your host, David Phipps, and today is a first for me. As many of y'all know, one of my vocations is getting to teach English at Radford University, and today I get the privilege of recording right from the campus. Found a room that I was able to snag on the side, so we're looking pretty professional here with my portable setup in this classroom that the library was kind enough to pass off to me at the last minute. Anyway, I got the privilege of being joined by two students. So, man, I think y'all are probably the youngest guys or youngest guests I've had on the show so far. So I'm joined by Jamori Harris and Dashawn. And Dashawn, I didn't even get your last name, man. My bad. Sean Barrett? Perry. Sean Perry, Jamori Harris. Y'all, thanks for being here.
No problem.
We're about to have, I think, a really, really, really cool conversation. So, Jamori, I've known you for a little bit longer. We've had a lot of really cool conversations.
Most definitely.
Along the lines of a lot of the things we talk about here on the podcast. So I want to get to know, and for our listeners, both of you a little bit here right off the bat, and then we're going to get into what kind of brought y'all together, and actually the three of us together in a bigger way. We're going to talk a little bit about your fraternity that's, is it okay to say up and coming? I mean, you guys are established, but the chapter's new, and some exciting stuff's kind of on the rise. All right, so Jamori, tell me a little bit about yourself, man. You are, I remember correct me if I'm wrong, Louisa County?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Louisa, yeah.
Louisa.
Central Virginia area.
Yeah. Criminal justice major, right?
Yeah.
Did I get that?
I started off as a music education major my freshman year, my first semester freshman year, and I changed to criminal justice second semester, and I've been criminal justice ever since. And I mean, I've enjoyed it, yeah. But as of right now, the plan, it might be a backup crutch, yeah.
What's the plan?
It might be a backup crutch because
Okay.
I still think about going for music after school.
Yeah.
But if music happens to not work out, then my criminal justice degree will be like something to fall back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got some pipes. You got some pipes.
Appreciate
Like
it.
that's for real, man. I should have put you on the spot and had you sing yourself onto the show. Yeah, man. Dashawn, what's your major?
I'm a psychology major.
Psychology? All right, dope. All right, y'all, I mean, that's kind of a wide range, but they are two majors that I feel like have a lot of overlap with even some things that we could talk about. So I'm going to try and keep this. Our listeners know that I tend to go over, so I'm going to try and keep this to a tight hour-ish, and I want to honor y'all's time. But you mentioned criminal justice, Jamori. We talked a lot about that. You're really passionate about justice, specifically racial justice, and we've had a lot of really cool conversations. Let me just ask this, like, what makes you want to go into criminal justice? I know one time you were even talking about law enforcement. Correct.
Yeah, so I have relatives who are law enforcement and close friends who are in law enforcement, and not saying that I just want to get in law enforcement, it's just the criminal justice system in general I want to be highly involved in. Because seeing my close relatives and close friends that have been involved in that system and seeing the kinds of like corruption that goes on in the system and the systematic injustice that happen towards people of color. And I feel like because it's something that I'm passionate about, it's something I can most definitely make a change for. Instead of sitting by looking at the news and seeing negative things that are happening between like police activity against people of color, instead of just complaining about it, if I know I can make a change, that's something I'll be willing to do.
Yeah. That's dope. Do you find yourself kind of like navigating the polarized culture when it comes to something like you mentioned police corruption in the justice system or police brutality, but having I'm gonna say being a young black guy from what I'm assuming is pretty like small rural-ish area, Louisa, but having sounds like family members in law enforcement. Do you find yourself navigating conversations on both sides?
Most definitely. Like I because of knowing people in law enforcement, I understand both arguments very like understandably. So I understand people's arguments that's coming like against law enforcement, and I understand the law enforcement's point of view. Because what a lot of people don't realize also is that law enforcement also deal with long-term trauma from different stuff that they deal with. Yeah, so they could be on edge sometimes. I'm not saying that's justifiable for their actions, but
The police?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, not saying that's justifiable for like their actions, but that's just something to also look out for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were to, I know you said this could be a backup plan, but assuming like you kept going with the criminal justice route, what would you, and this is idealistic thinking, I'll say that, like what would you, if you could have a big impact, like what are the main things or angles you'd want to go for? I guess that makes sense. With your knowledge of family being involved with law enforcement, but being extremely aware, maybe even from personal experience, of injustice in the criminal justice system.
I mean that's a difficult question because...
What are you talking about? No, I'm just kidding.
Huh?
I know. I threw you to the wolves a little bit.
Yeah, it's a difficult question because, like, there's really no answer to it.
Okay.
Because it's sad, but it's a problem that's so deeply rooted that in order for it to be solved, it's going to take a long, long time if it ever does get solved.
Yeah.
But some ways that could help could be more community oriented policing. So instead of being like patrolling around,
Okay.
just like
I was gonna say, what do you mean by that?
death staring, be more involved in the community, like be more out there. Like, say for example, like there's like videos that's gone viral of like police officers playing basketball of like kids on the street somewhere, like stuff like that. Be more involved in the community instead of trying to have this intimidating aura about yourself or trying to form one about yourself.
Yeah.
Just try to just be more interactive.
Yeah.
Be more just approachable.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Dashawn, psychology. What led you to want to do psychology, or at least major in it for now? I don't know if that's your long-term plan.
So yeah, it's pretty much my long-term plan with things. What led me to psychology was pretty much just different events I've seen throughout life so much.
Yeah.
So just seeing how different people deal with certain situations, or how, at least in the black community, like mental health wasn't like a really big push thing when I was a kid. It's starting to become a little bit more prominent now, but when I was a kid, it was black people we don't need like psychiatrists. We don't need to talk about mental health. And then especially being a black man, it was more so like just bury your feelings down and just kind of tough through it. Tough it out pretty much is the going mantra. So knowing all that, I was just like, I don't really rock with it because mental health is an important thing. And then just watching how things play out in the world and how like negative everything pretty much is at this point, I was like, I need to do something to make a change for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned, I think from just observing and reading, and like you guys both mentioned, the polarized culture we're all living in, that comes up almost every episode in some way, even if it's not the actual topic. I just think, you got to be living under a rock if you don't understand that everything's very polarized, but what do we do with it now? So it's interesting, like you brought up. So I think all that to say, mental health is like, I think making, I don't want to say not a comeback, but rearing its face. So like, it's like a hot button issue. It seems like mental health is being used as like the answer to solving like all these different things, like from, corruption and policing to the school system. I mean, there's a lot. But you mentioned, so that's cool that's that you're so passionate about that. You mentioned specifically in the black community. Can you unpack that a little bit? Like, because I think maybe a lot of people don't realize culture to culture, how it's certain stereotypes, or maybe just not even stereotypes, but are affecting different communities differently. So can you unpack like maybe the personal element or observations that you're talking about by just mentioning the racial element?
So from what I've seen from my own personal experiences and just people I know, the main going thing is I don't really blame our parental figures for it, because most time they came up in rough environments. So their rough environments required them to be a little bit more rugged, a little bit less, I guess, caring, you could say. So they tried to transfer that on to the next generation because they were like, that's how I had to survive. That's how I made it through the world. So that's the only way you're going to make it through the world.
Yeah.
And by doing that, they set their children up for, I think, failure, because they don't learn how to properly emote their emotions. But it's just something that's gone back for generations because it's tough. It's been tough to the point to where you have to bury your feelings. You have to learn how to mask your anger. You have to learn how to control yourself to an extreme, pretty much apex of it, to make sure that you survive. Because, for instance, like police brutality, if I lose my temper with the officer, that may mean I might lose my life or something like that. So sometimes it is required that we have to bury our feelings to some degree. So it's a negative thing we were taught, but it was a necessary evil for us to survive.
Wow. That's really eloquently put, like, and big issue, but succinctly putting it that way. Yeah, have you guys, even between you two, because we're gonna get to the fraternity in a second, but do you guys feel like even as friends and like brothers in fraternity that these passions are a backdrop to why you guys even started the fraternity? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, no.
Okay.
No. No, I wouldn't say our passions wasn't the reason.
Okay.
It was more so of just the connection that we've kind of like grown over the years of just like the brotherhood that we've kind of had. Because like a lot of times, first semester, freshman year, you get your roommate, and then usually a lot of times after first semester, a lot of people say, oh, I just want a new roommate. But we're juniors now. We've been roommates ever since. And and when I realized that I wanted to try to start a chapter here on campus, I know he was one of the first people that I asked because I knew that he would have my back and he would have helped me in any way possible.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh yeah, let's just get into the fraternity a little bit. So like, you explained it a little bit. How long coming into college did you guys know you wanted to do this?
So first coming into college, I had very much the mindset of I'm gonna get in, get out, that's it. I'm not doing no extracurricular. I just wasn't for it because I guess I was in a different mindset when I first came in. After some time being around Jamori and then some other friends, I kind of changed my thought process a little bit more. And then I was like, okay, college, getting my degree, but also making a little change won't hurt. So that's kind of what pushed me towards it. It was something more, so after I educated myself, it was easier to learn. And then, not easier to learn, it was easier for me to say, okay, this is what I want to do. So. Okay.
What about you, Jamori? You're the president.
Yeah.
The founder of the chapter. So talk a little bit about the history and even, shout out, like, what's the fraternity's name and give a little history and then why you decided to start this chapter here at Radford.
The fraternity is Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. It was founded Thursday, September 19th, 1963 at Morgan State College, now known as Morgan State University, at the Hurt Gymnasium by 12 Brown brothers who were looking for something unique and dynamic during the civil rights movement while promoting positive changes on their campus and in their community. But
you never had to say that before.
Huh?
I'm just kidding. No, that was amazing.
Appreciate it. But the reason I joined, I'm a legacy, by the way. Yeah. And so I was raised around my dad and all his LBs and seeing their brotherhood growing up. And my dad, he has been in the fraternity for almost 30 years now. Yeah. And seeing how close they are still 30 years later, it just amazes me. But when I came to Radford, I didn't think I was going to charter. Okay. I came looking, and when I realized there wasn't one here, I was like, well.
So you thought more you were going to join?
Yeah. Okay. So I was like, well, there's my chance. So I was like, So at the time, an uncle of mine, he was the international Grand Polaris at the time of the fraternity. And
what does that mean?
So he's pretty much the national Polaris, international Polaris. Okay. The president. And he called me, and it was like towards mid to end of the first semester. And he called me, and he was like, hey, Jamori, how many D9s do y'all have at Radford? And I listed them off. And then he said, you know which one you didn't name? And I said, yes, sir. And he was like, I want you to think about that. Okay. And I said, all right. And he just hung up. I was like, okay. Wow. Yeah, and then I thought about it for a long time. And it wasn't that long. It was probably about like a couple months. Probably like 2 months maybe. I thought about it for 2 months straight.
Yeah.
Then eventually, I called him back, and I said, all right. And then he said, sounds good, hung up. And then I looked at Dashawn, and I said, hey, you want to help me out? And he said, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I explained it out, and he said, hey, why not?
Man, that's awesome.
And that's how it all pretty much started.
That's awesome. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to keep going. I'm going to fix something with sound real quick. All right, we're back. All right, you guys been talking about the fraternity, Jamori, your legacy. You guys talked about what's kind of led you in to do this. So with a fraternity, what's unique about it? Because there's, I think especially here at Radford, there's like, I mean, a big Greek life presence. From what I hear here at Virginia Tech, and it's a big thing to do in college. So what makes Iota's what makes y'all unique?
So pretty much, we were founded back during like the civil rights era, as Jamori said earlier.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of community service stuff. So it's not so much like how some fraternities or sororities might just do like parties and then like one maybe fundraising event or something. We do a lot more community service work just to honor what our founders established way back in the 1963.
Are there actual, like, if y'all are listed, because y'all mentioned, partying and stuff like that, is there a difference between social fraternities and community service fraternities, like, actually? And you're smiling, so I don't want to, like, have you guys throw somebody under the bus or something, but are there, like, formal differences, or is it just, like, unwritten differences? Break some of this down for me as if I know nothing, because I don't.
So, when you're saying social, you mean like social service or like just social like party organization?
Probably the latter, because it's got Dashawn saying you guys do more quote unquote community service. So like that's more than what? Like more than, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So when the community service, like of course, like we would have like social stuff, but it's more so involved in the community. Now I'm trying to find a better way to explain it. Hold on. Okay, you want to explain it?
Wait, can you reiterate the question real quick?
Yeah,
so what do you mean? What do you mean by you guys are a little more? You guys are more community service based than other fraternities.
So I guess like the best way to word it is some fraternities, I guess their main gear is to kind of have a good time type of thing. And that's, I'm not saying Iota doesn't have a good time.
Sure.
We have our good time, but we also get work done per se. So we do like a lot of, I guess, like I said, community service work. So it's more so the partying aspect is in the background where the community service and the helping others around us is in the forefront.
Gotcha. So less, I'm only asking because that's what question I hear a lot of, just if someone says I'm rushing or starting a fraternity or a sorority even, a common question I hear is just, is it more of a social fraternity or community service based? Because I know there's academic fraternities, correct?
Yes.
Like just based on even majors, stuff like that. Is that, so do y'all like cross paths much with like how widespread is Greek life, and then how individual are you guys? Like, are you in community with other fraternities as well with the same thing, same goals, I guess?
I would say when it comes to the connection of like the other D9s here, I personally I cross paths with quite a few of them, quite frequent, and but we've had good relations with people inside D9s, and personally we've crossed paths and we see them outside of like the business aspects, and socially wise we've had social times with them also on like friendship levels. So I'll say we're pretty like good on each aspect when it comes to business and social. Yeah, so we're all pretty pretty good, and all of us business wise, we're all pretty much looking for the same thing. Like we're looking for justice and equality, and everybody D9 NPHC wise is also like community oriented. So we're all pretty much community.
What is D9? Even?
So Divine Nine. So it's the 9 historically black Greek organizations. Yeah.
And did you say PAC?
Yeah,
What's
National Panhellenic Council.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta make sure I get my terms right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So you guys, that's just interesting. I was wondering if you guys like had any history, especially with you being legacy. So you guys, I think maybe outside looking in, would maybe have like a lot of common goals. So I was just trying to break it down because there's Greek life and then there's a lot of stereotypes with like you guys mentioned. Oh yeah, you're not you guys, but like if you're in Greek life, my mind just stereotypically goes to, oh, y'all just are partying all the time. That's what Greek life is about. And then you guys differentiate between, community service, but then even more so, a D9 fraternity. So there's just different history there that I assume is unique in Greek life. Is that correct? You think like I know there's history with all the fraternities and sororities, but do you think that there's something behind what you guys just even explained that makes your specific fraternity unique? And where does I was wondering, like, being a legacy Jamori, like, is there history? And I'm looking at your eyes. I don't even know if you can unpack any of it, like that maybe there is even tension within other D9s, because you kind of like tried to lightly a little bit. If you can't go into that, that's fine. But it seemed like there was like, yes, we get along, have the same common goal, but maybe, I don't know, butt heads some.
I mean, I wouldn't say so much it's butting heads. I would say, with any council, you're going to have slight disagreements, and that's just natural. But I would say for the most part, MPHC, at least at Radford, we get along. Like, we socialize outside of meetings. It's pretty much a big group of friends, I would say, I guess.
Cool. So y'all mentioned you have similar common goals. Like, you want justice, you want to care about the community, and y'all on a monolith, which is I'm very passionate about, diving into the different layers of that. Are there things that you guys feel like you're passionate about, whether it's individually or with the fraternity, that maybe the other organizations aren't completely on board with, and how those conversations have gone? Like, how to bring about justice in a certain way? Or like, what are some things that come to mind when you say we're passionate about justice at Radford?
So I would say for the most part, MPHC, at least as a council, we're pretty much most time on the same page with how to get around justice. We team up a lot with different sororities or fraternities to help push certain things. So I would say it's more so that we may go about it different ways. Like, we might have different little programs we do, or we might have different events we might hold to help promote whatever the social injustice is, or whatever social problem that we feel like needs to be identified. But for the most part, MPHC is pretty much on the same page about things. Okay.
What's an example of something y'all might be working on right now?
So when it comes down to events for those, this is not so much with the MPHC, but it's more so of an event that we're planning on doing, which is tomorrow.
Right. I was going to ask you about that, but go ahead and get into that.
Yes, it's tomorrow, 7:55 at Cut and Ice Barbershop. It's pretty much a barbershop series talk. We're going to cover mental health, specifically men's mental health, but people is welcome to attend. The raffle that we did had going on around campus, we're going to announce that person later, but whoever is getting a cut will be getting the cut during the series if they're able to make it. But we have that going on, and we'll have like open floor discussions about mental health on Radford campus and different ways to address those situations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why? What made you guys want to start there? Because you said it's a series, right? Can you talk about, why'd you guys start with mental health? Any particular reason?
The main reason why we want to start mental health, because first of all, it's school, and And mental health is a big thing amongst everybody, not just students, but even teachers too.
Yeah.
And did you ask why we choose the location?
No. Just why'd you choose mental health?
But yeah, so
But location too, maybe like that's a unique setting.
But
at the barbershop.
Yes, and so but yeah, mental health is probably one of, if not the biggest issue at the university in general. And the location was because we wanted to reach out to community more. We chose Cut Nice because community barbershop, everybody goes there. So we know people will come out and show out.
Yeah. So you said, I'm gonna put you on the spot, mental health, because that's kind of where we started with the episode even. So why would you say that it is one of or the biggest issue on campus?
So
from a student's point of view, like I said, you guys are, if I think back, the youngest guys to come on the show. So this is good hearing from, the young guys.
I would say, like, student point of view, it could, like, it's social-wise because, like, home lives, like, what we have going on at home, and, like, school-wise because you have a lot of students that are paying for school out of their own pockets. And then, like, workload, like, my freshman year when I started off doing music education, I had 14 classes. And then on top of that, I had like home life to like attend to, and then I had other stuff to like handle, and so that wasn't cutting it. And so there's been like quite a few times I've been to my advisor freshman year about nearly having like mental breakdowns because of like getting behind on work, and then people was like badgering you, and then also it's just student life in general.
Yeah.
Because Radford is a smaller school, it's another reason. Radford is a smaller school, word gets out fast, and people, I'm not trying to say people do this, but you probably have some people that would tend to spread false rumors around about you that may not be true. But
so the smaller feel.
So like just how word around and just the toxic environment, I guess you can say, of certain groups.
Okay.
And that a lot can affect some people, student wise. Yeah.
Gotcha. This can be.
I guess not being able to find the right groups to be in.
Yeah.
Instead of like not trying to surround yourself with that kind of environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
This can be for either one of you. What can be done about that? You know what I mean? Like someone that might have heard you just say everything you just said, like what if someone were to say that, hey, that's just life, that's how it should be. That's not my feeling, but like, you know what I mean? I think that could be the pushback. Life's just hard. Like, what would you guys want to see changed or implemented to help with the seeming like overwhelmingness of being in college right now?
So for the, I guess, overwhelming factor of college, I would say college is a time when it's like pretty much you're going through growing pains. Like you're trying to learn who you are as a person. You're trying to learn your way around school. Probably might be the first time you're away from your family. It's a lot of growing pains. So I guess the biggest thing I would say would be kind of what Jamori said, surround yourself with the correct people. If you surround yourself with a lot of people that have negative energy, it's going to transfer onto you. So the best way to, I guess, kind of keep your sanity through all of it is surround yourself with good people, and then try to keep a good little like work-life balance. Because I know in like college they say you can only you have like a triangle pretty much, like you're either going to get sleep, your schoolwork, or social. Really, I feel like you can do two of those things. It just depends which one you want to pick.
Okay.
More so.
Do you guys feel like you're set up to do things well, like balance?
I feel like personally now I am, but like when I first came to college, probably not. Because it's kind of more so when you first come to college, it's like you're kind of thrown to the wolves type of deal. It's like, okay, you don't really know what you're doing. You don't know where you're at. and then the world just kind of tells you like, yo, figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the going thing with this. Then you have to trial and error with it. But I do think it's easier trial and error if you have like a group of people, because you can be like, okay, well, what worked for you? Oh, that didn't work. Okay, that probably won't work for me. So let's try this. Or maybe that didn't work for you, but it was a good idea, so maybe I'll try it.
Yeah,
Type
yeah.
of thing. It makes it easier with trial and error versus let me go through it by myself and then do 1,000 things wrong before I find the right thing right.
Yeah, yeah. What has it been like for you guys, and maybe you can speak for your friend group or whatever, but like, what has it been like to navigate COVID even and social distancing, all that? Like, you guys are juniors?
Yeah.
Is that right? So what was your last year in high school like? Was it, were you guys at home? I can't remember how long COVID's been around.
It's like half and half.
Half and half for y'all.
Yeah.
So what has that been like, I don't know, mental health, socially navigating early college to end of high school to now where it's kind of back to normal-ish, I guess? Where do you think that like kind of intersects with the stuff we're talking about from y'all's point of view?
I would definitely say COVID affected me a lot.
Okay.
Because like, oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah, COVID definitely affected me a lot, because before COVID in high school, I was very active, like really active in community and music, because I traveled a lot and performed. I had a band, like I had a travel band that traveled with me, recorded music. Like I was very active and passionate about music, and I still am. Mm-hmm. But after COVID happened, and it stopped me from going out to do those things that I love to do, like performing. My performances stopped. Recording, that stopped because the studio I went to was done. Mm. And so like being not able to do what I love to do, and I mean, I did it at home, but of course being trapped in home away from my music friends who motivated me to pull out pen and paper to write music, who motivated me to put on headphones and record a song. Because I wasn't able to really like be with them and hang out with them and stuff like that, I lost the motivation. And so like starting off in college, music education, that was one of my biggest problems. I wasn't really motivated to do it. Okay. Because I did R&B and soul and gospel. Coming to college, I started doing classical already off of a non-motivated mind. Then coming in doing a total different genre than I'm normal to. So that definitely set it off for me. So then I was like, oh no. But I'm definitely slowly starting to get back into the routine. So yeah, like Dashawn said, like now I definitely feel like I have a better routine-wise. Yeah.
Dashawn, in studying psychology, has it come up a lot, like in y'all's classes, like talking about the effects that even the pandemic had on you, like y'all's current generation, of even how you're entering into college? And something I noticed, like even when I asked my class, like, how the weekend was, or like when we do the icebreakers on day one, like just, I'll say one of my go-tos is like, what are you watching on Netflix or something, and what are you binging, stuff like that. I just assume, especially nowadays with having just come off a pandemic, like everyone's gonna, have 4 or 5 shows they've been watching or movies, and increasingly more. So like I see 2 things. Like I see like it seems like people are not able to be bored nowadays, because you can spend a whole day by yourself and you're not really bored because you always got something to watch or listen to. That's the way I view it, at least. But I've been struck by how many times lately, like in my classes, a lot of my students say, I don't watch TV, which actually really surprises me, because I'm like, no way, like really? Like what are you doing if you're not socializing and also not watching TV. So I don't know. Like, how have you seen the effects of how people are even interacting with others since the pandemic?
So I'm also a sociology minor, so I do like sit there and
perfect.
watch everybody do things.
Yeah.
So from what I've noticed, at least just from examining people and asking people questions, it's a mixed review. So the pandemic had a weird outcome. So some people who were like extremely like extroverted so much, they felt more like, oh my gosh, like I don't have much stuff to do. I don't like, kind of more Jamori, he's more extroverted of a person. So it was kind of a little bit of a negative thing for him. But for me, I'm more introverted, and other people I knew who are more introverted, it was more so of like a good mental health check, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of. It was like that, okay, I think it taught a lot of people how to have fun by yourself. Like you don't really need to have a group of people around you. And then the fact of how you're saying like a lot of your students said they not watch TV, the pandemic gave people time to find different ways to entertain themselves.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because eventually, like during the pandemic, we all ran out of TV shows. Everyone was like, okay, I got to start rewatching this. Some people say, okay, well, maybe I'll start reading, or they picked up different hobbies, I guess.
Yeah.
So now that the pandemic's kind of on the, I guess I won't say the ending end, but we've kind of found a way to work around it as a society, people are still using those hobbies they found during the pandemic. So some people worked out, some people picked up reading, different things.
Yeah.
So it's had mixed reviews so much, but I did notice a lot. Like I know at least when I got first into college, because we were pandemic freshmen pretty much.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of went a little crazy once we got to college, because it's like, oh, there's restrictions, but there's not really restrictions.
Yeah.
Like they told us like, don't do this, don't do that. But
so did you guys go like senior year, stay at home? High school?
it was like the back half. So I went after I left for spring break. We didn't come back, and I knew we weren't coming back.
Right.
I told everyone like, "Oh, see you later."
It was like March 13th, we went home.
Yeah.
March 13th. Okay. Yeah. Gosh, what was that? What was that like? Quick side note.
At first, it was really fun because like, yes, I'm done.
No school.
Yeah, I'm a senior, so I'm about to just graduate, get out.
Were you bummed to miss out on stuff though?
Not really.
No?
I was just like, I'm out. I'm cool. But I mean, as the pandemic kind of went a little bit more, and then I realized, I'm coasting right into a 3-month summer, coming into a 2-month break. I'm like, okay, this is way too much time on my hands. I don't like this.
Right. Yeah. You got anything to add there, Jamori?
It was like Dashawn said. At first, I was like, okay, I wouldn't mind like a 2-week break, but it all kind of happened really fast. Because I remember, like when they first announced like the first sightings of COVID that they saw in China back in like February. What was it, like January or February of that year?
Like January.
Yeah, and then I remember kids in my school, they was like, we'll be all right. It's not going to reach us, stuff like that.
Yeah, even thinking back to when Radford put out, we're just going to be off an extra week, and how probably naive that was for most people to think. Because I think experts or people that knew anything more than me were like, nah, we're gonna be. This is gonna be a minute.
Oh yeah, and they said we'll be all right. It's not gonna reach us and stuff like that. And then come March, our principal comes to intercom and he's like, well, we're gonna. At March 13th, he was like, we're gonna let y'all off half a day early, and we'll have like a 2-week break. And everybody was like, oh, like it actually is serious.
Yeah.
And then we went on our break, and then probably about like 5 days in, we received the email talking about school was just done. And we was like, oh.
Wow.
So it was serious. So it was wild, like the change, and people was going crazy. Like we went to the groceries in like town, like grocery store packed, Walmart packed, like aisles was like clean, like everybody was acting like it was an apocalypse happening.
How big is Louisa compared to Radford maybe?
Well, town wise, so in Louisa there's like 3 kind of towns. It's like the main town, Louisa, then there's like another like little business area called like Zion's Crossroads, and then like Mineral. But like the main town is smaller than Radford. Okay. But if I think like population wise, I think Louisa County populated wise is bigger than Radford.
Man, all that was really helpful. That was good. I can't imagine ending after all that, my senior year at home, doing school on the computer.
Yeah.
All right, I got a few more things for y'all before I let y'all get out of here. I want to honor y'all's time, and this is a little bit out of order, but even coming back to the fraternity, are there any? I mentioned this at the beginning a little bit. Are there any stereotypes, or what are some? I'm assuming there are, like stereotypes of a D9 fraternity that I want to give you an opportunity that you want to debunk for people listening.
So one stereotype I've heard before, just from people who don't really know what a D9 is, or they might just know very briefly what it is. They might think that just because it's historically black means that it's only black. That's not true. Anyone can join a D9. It doesn't matter anything, pretty much, long as you are willing to go by like that fraternity's like morals, I guess, and your morals align. You feel like it works for you. You are free to join any D9.
Yeah,
so
that's a great one.
One of the stereotypes I hear a lot. Jamori, you got any stereotypes? That's the main one I hear.
Yeah, to be honest, he said the one that I had in mind. That's probably the biggest one that we hear. That, because it's a D9, I have to be black to join. Nah, you don't have to be black to join.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the biggest one that we hear. Yeah.
Do you want to give a quick why even a fraternity is historically black? Is it along the same lines of, because I think that's a stereotype of like an HBCU or something too, right? Like I think our listeners understand the context more so than people that would only hold that stereotype. But I think I'm asking because a stereotype would be, an HBCU, why, that's divisive. They're existing and like almost discriminatory against, white people. But I know y'all know that is not the case. So is that similar to why D9s came into existence?
It's pretty similar because around the time most D9s were founded, it was like early 1900s, and then moving down to like us who were like the last one, 1963.
Yeah.
It was a time to where we couldn't really, if we wanted to join some type of social organization that was like fraternity-wise, if it was white, of course, due to Jim Crow and segregation, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So pretty much founders across different sororities, fraternities came up with their own type of organizations, and then they geared their organizations to help their community.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much the premise. So yeah, it's kind of like how HBCUs were kind of made to give black people higher education because they couldn't go to certain colleges. So it's the same premise.
Gotcha. Appreciate you all unpacking that a little bit. Our last, what type of legacy do you guys hope to leave and establish through your fraternity or even just your time at Radford? Like, what do you want to pass on to the next generation? I'll make y'all sound old.
So the main thing I want to kind of pass on is more so of I want to pass on a mindset of it's okay to kind of talk to people. It's okay to have important conversations.
Yeah.
That's the main thing I've always focused on, mental health, because it's played such a big role in my life that I'm very keen on making sure anyone I interact with knows, if you ever need to talk to someone, I'm here. Or if you have any type of situations, if I can't help you with it, that there are resources to help you with. So the main legacy I want to leave is a better staple of mental health at Radford, because I've noticed it's come something that's more in the back thought more so, at least here I've noticed. It's not something that's really pushed unless you're in certain departments or you're in certain groups. And then even certain groups that say they push mental health may not push it to the degree that they're saying they do. So it's kind of more so I want our fraternity to be known as a group of guys that even if you're not a member, even if you're not considering being a member, you can still come up and talk to us, and we'll be more than willing to listen and help you.
Beautiful.
Any way we can.
Beautiful.
Is this for restate the question again?
Yeah, just what type of legacy do you hope to leave and establish here?
Don't be afraid to take chances. Don't be afraid to walk up to somebody and just strike a conversation, depending on the setting. But there have been many times where I've been in professional settings and I've encountered people that I knew if I would have started a simple conversation with them, my life probably could have changed, but I missed the opportunity. Like, that's probably the most important thing that, well, not most important, one of the most important things that you could probably do. Don't miss the opportunity. If you see your opportunity and know it's right there in front of you, don't miss it. Don't miss it.
All right. Wow, that's beautiful. Y'all, I appreciate y'all doing this. Remind me again, the event tomorrow night as we're recording this. So it won't, as we're recording this, it's tomorrow night, but it's going to be an ongoing series for people in Radford. It's open to the town, right? Not just the university. Is that correct? At the barbershop?
Yeah, it's going to be a reoccurring thing. We'll have the
Thursday
later
nights.
dates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll have
Later
the later
dates.
dates as we plan the next ones throughout the following semesters and stuff like that. We probably won't have another one this semester, just saying how close we're getting to finals and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, as we have more events, it will be a reoccurring series. Of course, it'll be different topics. They won't just solely be on mental health. We'll pick different social problems that we feel like need to be identified.
Okay.
And then, well, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. What other events you guys got coming up? Anything on the docket?
Yeah, so as of right now, we've been just focusing on the barbershop event, but we have been working on some stuff in the background, so we do have some events coming up soon. Now, they will release more information about those later on, but we are working on other stuff also. But as of right now, where our main focus is the series, and once we get past the series, we'll probably start dropping some other stuff. Yeah.
That's great. I love it. Dashawn, Jamori, appreciate you guys coming on.
No problem.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Radford listeners, their first event at the barbershop at the time of this recording is going to be tomorrow, October 20th, but look out for more information to join more of those conversations on what I'm sure will be really beneficial for everyone going, regardless of sounds like amazing topics that are coming up. Thank you guys for listening. The music you're listening to is done by our friend Dylan Dent, and our artwork is created by Ashley Bush, and we'll see you guys next time.
The nightmare might scare you, no worse than reality. They hunt you by day, R.I.P. Ahmaud Arbery. Everybody got a time, but that's less than comforting. I hope I'm alive by the time they choose to comfort me. Mosquitoes in the vein, or leeches on my soul. This money on my mind is a fracture in my bones. You get crippled by continuing existence like a ghost. And they wonder why we drink, and they wonder why we smoke, and they wonder why we think that everything's a joke. I'm shocked that we can sleep, must be the thought of letting go.